Hello everyone, I'm Jay, your host at Everything Cloud Platform. Welcome to this session on Observability Basics. This is basics. We'll do the most in in the least time. This session is very relevant for the SREs in particular. From the logs getting captured by the ops agent, we built a couple of log-based metrics in the last video on logs. Besides the log-based metrics we created, there are a lot of metrics by default available that can be tapped into as well. In the foundational skills, I've talked about some key concepts around observability like golden signals, SLIs, SLOs, error budgets, etc. This video will walk you through how you go about setting up visibility around all the 4 golden signals using Google native tooling. So let's go. Here are the steps that we are going to be following in the video today. We'll refresh some key terms and definitions of the tools and technologies we are going to be touching upon in this video. We'll look at some out-of-the-box GCP dashboards that are available. You should know these. We don't want to reinvent the wheel. What is available is available. Just go ahead and tap into that. We'll build some charts around traffic. We'll build availability charts. We'll look at how to get the latency information from the logs and go about building charts for latency. Then finally, we'll build our golden signals dashboard and have all of these charts on the dashboard. So let's dive right in. A quick reference to the foundational skills that we have been talking about. We will be looking at all of these, the observability logs, golden signals, SLIs, SLOs, error budgets, all of these in this session, like I mentioned in my opening remarks. I have a blog called Foundational Skill Set for Cloud Engineers on medium.com. If you read through this blog, this talks about all the key technology areas that we have, the foundational skills that we have been talking about. If you scroll down on this towards the end, you will find all the relevant ones that we are going to be covering in this observability basics sections. Observability is basically, it's a crucial component of software development and systems administration, essentially offering a comprehensive view of what's happening inside your system. That's what we are going to see. I would just read out the other 4 key areas that we are going to touch upon, and these areas are these 4. Golden signals. Golden signals refer to a set of 4 key metrics: traffic, errors, latency, and saturation. These are used to monitor your health and performance of a service or a system. SLI, service level indicator, that's a measurable quantitative metrics that reflects the health of performance of a service from the user's perspective. Examples are availability, latency. We'll be touching upon availability and latency in our video today. SLOs are service level objectives, basically targets or commitments for the SLIs that you choose to move forward with. An error budget is a quota of acceptable errors. Basically, this is 1 minus SLO. So if SLO is 99%, then your error budget is 1%. Simply put, that's how it works. So these 4 you want to keep in mind as we run through our video today. So we'll go about setting up some of these now. Let's start with building our observability. We start from scratch. We are on our GCP account. Make sure our VM is up and running. It's functioning as expected. Take a quick peek at the load. You remember from the last video we are inducing some load that's still running, so it'll keep on running here. So on the left hand side you're seeing the good requests, on the right hand side you're seeing some errors that we are inducing. So this is just to simulate some load, and that is all going on still, right? So let this keep on continuing because this data is required. This will help us build the observability that we are going to be building. Let's look at what's available by default. There are a few dashboards that GCP makes us available by default. So if you go to monitoring and look at these dashboards, I'll open up in a new tab. In here, there are a couple of dashboards that I want to point out from GCE standpoint: the GCE VM instance monitoring and infrastructure summary. Let's open both of these in new tabs here. So that's your GCE VM instance monitoring. A lot of CPU uptime, basically your infrastructure related metrics, meaning the health of your VMs, that's available by default out of the box right within Google Cloud Platform on these metrics. Look at this one and then look at the infrastructure summary as well. Say if you have hundreds of VMs running, you will have these stats available for all of those VMs running in here, and you will be able to filter out using your instance ID, instance name, and so on and so forth. Currently we just have one VM. Now if I quickly jump back to our Medium blog where we talked about the golden signals, remember I mentioned the 4 golden signals are traffic, errors, latency, and saturation. Saturation refers to all the CPU and memory related, basically the infrastructure metrics. And we saw all of these. So all these saturation metrics really are covered between these two. So we are not going to be doing anything explicitly, at least in the observability basics session in this video today. We will be covering the traffic, errors, and latency, those 3 metrics in this video. And let's see how we will be going about building those. Currently, by default, the response time is missing in Apache access logs. So if you look at the status and the HTTP request, if you expand this, you'll see protocol, remote IP, request method, request URL, response size, status, user agent, but you don't see response time anywhere. Neither in this JSON payload, there is nothing in there. To get the response time in here, there is a small setting that we will need to do. Take a look at this Apache server project page. This gives you all the formatting that goes into the Apache config file that defines what shows up in the log versus what not. I would point out to a specific thing here. Look at a variable called %D is what we are looking for. That holds really the response time that we will need to key in. See this? This is the time taken to serve the request in microseconds. Currently in our configuration, in the Apache configuration, that's missing. That's what we will need to configure to ensure the latency, the request time shows up in the logs. The Apache configuration file is in /etc/apache2 and apache2.conf. This file currently holds this log format entry. Notice this highlighted in %ds. That's what I just added and restarted the service. Here is the configuration file. If I do a sudo vi into that file, and here is where I added the entry. I just added this entry, committed by saying wq. Currently we haven't changed, so I'll just change, just come out without saving. But this is what I did, and then I restarted the Apache web service. That's all we did to make that change that resulted in the log entry getting modified. The log entry, after we made the change like this, log entry got modified to showing up this gzip ratio, that 222, the response time in milliseconds in this field right here. Although it's called gzip ratio, just ignore the name for now. That probably will need a little more configuration to just reflect the right name, but you will always be able to use the value that is showing up there. Let's go ahead with creating one more metric that captures this response time. So let's go ahead and create the metric, and notice that I have the same criteria that we had for all the requests in the other log based metrics that we created, and this time we'll create a distribution metrics because we want to collect numeric data from a particular field, matching a given filter. So filter is already here. Here we'll say Apache request latency, or just say request latency, capture latency data. All right, and in here we say this. Now choose the field names. That's what is important. This is the field name that is holding our latency data, right? And I'll just say, yeah, nothing here, no other settings. We'll just go with the defaults and create this metric, and we'll see how we will be able to leverage this metric for any of our latency related metrics. We are now ready to build some monitoring using either the Apache default metrics or our log-based metrics. First, we'll build a traffic chart using the Apache built-in metrics. So if you navigate to, say, VM instances, go to Apache, and say take this request chart and apply this here. That's our request chart. That goes, if I even look for last 6 hours, we have been running our load test since last few hours now, and all of this is showing up. So this is a decent chart that gives us like traffic to our Apache server. We'll save this chart. We'll say traffic based on Apache default metric, right? That's what that is. And dashboard, we do not have a custom dashboard yet. We'll create a new dashboard and we'll call it, say, golden signals, right? That's our dashboard. I'll save this chart. So now this dashboard is available like you had all the other dashboards available. This is the golden signal that we just created. This shows up as our custom dashboard while everything else is like Google Cloud Platform. I'll just star it. I'll star the VM instance one that we have seen. I'll star this one as well. So these three are our favorite ones. And if I go to golden signals, we see our traffic chart right here. So how this will get handy in our observability, if there is a drop in traffic here for like extended period of time, yeah, that is a problem, right? That's what traffic chart will tell you. We'll now build one more traffic chart using our log-based metrics. And the way you will do it is go to monitoring and metrics explorer, and in here, instead of selecting the Apache metrics, now we'll go ahead and select our log-based metrics. The log-based will take the good requests and the bad requests. We'll plot both of those in a single chart. So let's select the good ones first and then add another query to add the other one as well. From here, go and pick the bad request as well. If I pick the bad request, now both of them are showing right in the same chart. Let's move them to different axes here. We'll say, yeah, they are on different axes right away. And like the first one, the good request is on right axis and the bad is on left axis. Okay, I think that's good enough. We can very well choose to have this as a stacked bar chart as well if that makes it better. This last 6 hours of data, I think that's totally fine. Maybe line is better. Let's just save it as this. So I will say something like, say, traffic based on log based metrics, right? And the dashboard, now our golden signal is showing up here. So I'll select golden signal and just save chart. And now if I open dashboards in a separate tab here and look at our golden signal dashboard, that has the other chart as well. So we have traffic based on the Apache default metrics as well as on based on log basement. Notice that both are more or less at the same scale, right? That's what we expected. There could be slight differences here and there, of course, because this is Apache and there might be some microseconds differences here and there that you would observe. But I think by and large the data is absolutely same. The way we'll go ahead and create the availability SLI is, how will you define availability SLI? Availability is good requests divided by total requests, right? That's the percentage. So if I have a total of 10 requests and there were 9 good and 1 bad, 90% is my availability. As simple as that. So just keep it simple and we'll go about just building this availability SLI in Google Cloud here. What we'll do is we'll use our log-based metrics here. So if I pull my log-based request, I'll say good request in here. Let me pull this. And at this point, I want to say add one more. We have add. good requests here. Let's add the total requests here as well. That's my total request, and say apply. All right, I have good and total here. What I'll now say is just create a ratio of good requests over this, right? That's how I'll go about creating my availability percentage. Let me just do a last 3 hours, or last 1 hour. That's the data. So that's giving me my availability percentage. Now this is based on the way we have set up our load test. My load test is inducing a lot of errors here, and we have considered 404 as errors as well. That's what you're seeing here. So I'll now save this chart, or maybe let's do one more thing. We add a threshold line here as well. Say we add a threshold line at 90%. Say we are saying 90% is our SLO. In a way, that will be your SLO. Now if I save this and I'll name this as availability, right? And we'll add this to our golden signals dashboard. Let's save this. Now if I come back here and maybe just refresh, that third chart that we just created, the availability chart, will show up here as well. And that's our availability. The reason you do not have this is because one of the metrics that we used, the log-based matrix, the total request, that was created only after this time, and that's why this is showing. So net now on your golden signals dashboard, you have traffic, you have errors, you have the availability as well. Let's build the latency chart now. We just created the latency log-based metrics, and if we go about just selecting that from here, and we'll build a chart based on that. By default, it's going to heat map. Let's change it to line chart, say continue, and we are good. Now there are some things that you should note here. By default, it's sitting at 50th percentile here. You can look at the mean. Yeah, those numbers are matching with what we have in our log, in our logs. So take a quick peek at logs, and you will see 177 here. Take another entry, that's 214. So that's more or less matching. If you so basically what this is doing is each data point, say if there were 3 requests in that 1 minute period, that's just taking the mean of all of that. Now at times in production, you would want to aggregate the response time, the latency data, by 95th percentile or 99th percentile, as the case may be, and why, and the reasoning, the rationale, we'll go about over that in a separate discussion here, but there is a video that I have on percentiles that you can absolutely refer, and I'll post the link right in here. But for now, let's go ahead with the mean, and we'll also add a threshold line so that this helps with defining our SLO. Say I'm saying my SLO should be 250 milliseconds. I'm saying as long as we are meeting our requests are under 250 seconds, I think we are good. So this is where the SLO was breached, this is where the SLO was breached, and so on and so forth. That's what this is telling you. Let's go ahead and save this chart. Let's call it latency. Let's add it on our golden signals dashboard, say save chart. And if we go about visiting our dashboard, the latency chart is now showing up. This is for 30 minutes. Maybe there was a request that took a lot of time. That's what it is showing up here. But this completes your golden signals dashboard. You have traffic based on Apache metrics as well as our log base. We have availability chart pasted right here, and we have latency information as well. Here is a recap of what we did today. We refreshed the key terms and definitions from the Medium blog. We looked at out-of-the-box GCP dashboards. We built the traffic charts. We built the availability. We defined and built availability charts. We built the latency charts. And finally, we built the golden signals dashboard with all the charts laid over nicely on the dashboard. Well, That brings us to the end of this video on Observability Basics. If you like the content, please do subscribe the channel and hit the bell icon to get notifications when new videos are posted. If you are genuinely interested in learning all the foundational skills we have been talking about so far on Everything Cloud Platform, stick around and follow along all the videos that are posted. I'm sure you had a wonderful time in this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.